Yes, ma'am.
That was my only thing. I was really kind of talking to Chaz earlier. I was looking at Biggie's lyrics, and I was
Yeah, his
like,
lyrics is wild. It is wild. But I will say this. I will say this. As I got older, I started to look at Biggie from a different view. And the reason I'm saying this is because I used to feel the same exact way, right? I used to feel like the reason why Pac is running over is better than Biggie by a landslide is because of the content that Pac would talk about, right? But Biggie, so some of the positives that Biggie did speak about, right? So let's say like his first single off of his debut album was Juicy, right? So
okay,
he's literally paying homage to hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
On the in the first verse,
I used to
he's
read Word Up
mentioning,
magazine, Salt and Pepper, and Heavy D up in the limousine. Yes,
you know what I'm
yes.
saying? He's paying homage to hip hop. He's also talking about how hard it was and how hard it is for young black people or black people that come from his neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Saying stuff like birthdays was the worst days. Now we sit, like he's saying like I was here, but now I'm here. But also, okay, so that's that, right? But also, let's talk about Warning. Warning, he's talking about.
So he's coming into that other part of Biggie, right? That materialistic. I'm gonna sell the Versace. I'm gonna sell this lifestyle for you to go after. I'm going.
Well,
no, I want to say no, yeah, but only reason why you can't hold his feet to the fire, Sully. He was only what 21, like
yeah. When that came out, he definitely.
Imagine, like you said, he was able to adapt to anywhere. Imagine if he was able to live a little longer and got into an environment where he can, you know what I'm saying, got with a different type of producer, a different environment to talk about different subject matter, see the world more. Imagine that, Biggie. But you're talking about a 20-year-old just talking about what he just overcame.
But like I said, as I got older, I started to like really dissect Biggie lyrics, right? So like for example, on the song "The What" with Method Man, he got lines where he say "deep like the mind of Farrakhan," like he say that in the rhyme. You know what I'm saying? Or let's talk about Warning, right? So Warning, if you just listen to Warning face value, it's like, all right, there's just a story about somebody coming to rob him and whatever. But if you really listen to it, he's talking about how when you become successful, how jealousy and envy comes from your community. Like, and he's touching on that. You know what I mean? And that's something that he touches on a lot through. That's like a common, consistent theme with Biggie, with songs like Player Hater on Life After Death, or Nobody. You're nobody until somebody. That he's talking about basically when you reach a certain success, jealousy and envy, that's something that he's dealing with, but he's also talking about how to overcome it. You know what I mean? So that's another positive. Sky's the Limit is a very positive song by Biggie.
Yep. And we talked about that earlier. So the thing about Biggie is, again, through the years, Biggie, he woke up some people who was voiceless. It was a group of people in that was coming out the mud, like him, Brooklyn, the mean streets, that didn't have someone they could relate to. It wasn't no one out there for them. You know what I'm saying? So Biggie came and spoke their language.
Right.
And that's why I appreciate, that's why Biggie is so high regarded. Forget the skill set, but again, it was the other side of the coin that no one knew about.
Let me say this because I know my phone is about to die. I want to be caught saying this. Of course, I have a love for Tupac. I have a love for Tupac because I think his lyrics, his skill set can reach the masses. And
absolutely.
I feel like I feel like the subject matter, the content will outlive it can go to the end of time, right?
It will.
It's gonna go to
yes, ma'am.
Because they're gonna kind of go through much of what he described in his lyrics. And I think with the ability to reach the masses like that in any kind of arena, there lies a responsibility, because all eyes on you, as he said, all eyes on me. It's all eyes on you, and so there's a responsibility in it. And
absolutely,
and I feel we have to. And the only thing, and this is what I said to Chaz, like I was looking at the lyrics, and I was like, wow, really, just the disrespect of females, the whole thing. But I'm gonna let y'all have it that he was 21, and you know that's just what it was. But at the end of that conversation, that's what it was, though, right? And those lyrics live on. And what I was saying is, those OGs, like they're gonna have to wear that. You know what I mean? Even when Chance was talking about NWA, you're going to have to wear the impact that you had and those who came up after you and what you created, because we're looking at it now.
But
sure. Yes, ma'am.
And I just say how I look at it and liken it, though. I likened it to, because I think it was necessary. I'm always do. I liken it to, you got Tupac and Tupac babies. I liken to Tupac is the ones that told you was kings, you was gods, You told you your origin. And I think people
I think y'all acting like Tupac ain't make
no, music too. No, I'm here. Listen, I'm just saying overall, when you just in the grand scheme of things, when you think of Tupac, this how I liken of it. I think of him, telling you we was once kings and fair boom boom. When I think of Biggie, I think he's that one that it's almost like how we came up as black people as a whole. That slavery, that enslavement has to be talked about. How cruel and nasty it was, the mindset we was in black history, you have to speak on it. I think Biggie was that edition of black history. You have to speak on that, the nasty and the ugly, the bad, the ugly. Tupac gave you the good, you know what I'm saying? But Biggie gave you the ugly. And when you talk about the black experience, he especially in hip hop, I'm going to Biggie first before anybody, because he gave you that side of the story.
And you absolutely correct, because imagine in 5 years, right? If Biggie didn't rap like that, or didn't exist, or never rap mainstream, right? When you put in Ready to Die, it take you right to 1994, as far as what a young black man was going through.
Man, that's be it, bro.
And I feel like because also Biggie had songs like Everyday Struggle on Ready to Die. He had songs expressing about how he felt like the world don't love him, and that's why he goes so hard. And how, you know what I mean? Like how young black men was feeling at that time. And I feel like that's another reason why God permitted him to come out, because that was necessary. I feel like going back. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll give y'all the spiritual content of, it was necessary and what have you. Use the responsibility, because
I agree with that.
I don't want to say the smell of that, but I don't even want to say taint, because I don't want to say it in such a negative way, like I don't respect Biggie, and because I respect Biggie for his lyrical skill, not his content. I think he was a skilled artist in the genre of hip hop. Like his wordplay and just the skill in that, respect, hands down, without a doubt, no doubt. But I have to give it to him, like in terms of what that content was, and even I would not want my grandchildren to listen to it.
To that, I feel you.
I wouldn't. It would come with a disclaimer. You know what I mean? Like you would have to really sit them down and do some really heavy thinking, because you have a class of artists that are in Ivy League schools and they're really breaking down Nas is one, Tupac is one. Like, what were you saying, and how you said it was in such a way to describe the Black experience that we're going to put this in the schools. You know what I'm saying? And we're drawing from this, and we're taking this as a philosophy of sorts. You know what I mean? To understand that. And I'm sorry, you can't necessarily, for me, dissect Biggie's that way because he was so caught up in it. Right?
So, like, yes, ma'am. I do understand, and I agree. I will say, number one, the first thing, it's equivalent to watching, it's like watching Scarface or like watching a Martin Scorsese movie. And I'm saying that because Biggie said
exploitation. Absolutely.
Well,
it's exploitation.
Exploitation here, the business of it. See, this is where it's nuanced, because yes, the business of it.
Brothers, give me that. It's exploitation.
I'll give you the business of it. I'm gonna give you the business. I'm not gonna put all that on Biggie. I'm gonna give you the business.
Well, it depends on. You got to tell me what song you're talking about,
because you can't help.
Because I'm thinking of the whole catalog. So
that's what I said to Chaz and another one. Rippity is somebody else. I was just like, give me any song. Give me any song.
Everyday struggle. Everyday struggle.
I hope my phone.
That's why when she's doing the lyrics, I think that's a disservice just to, Yeah, good.
Okay, hold on. I can name songs though.
All I'm saying is, of course, Biggie had some lyrics that the righteous mind wouldn't agree with, of course. But like I said, listen.
Can I say this? I'm not talking about righteousness. I'm not necessarily getting into that nuance. I'm getting into this. You gotta wear this because out of the ability for him to do it, it created a whole space for others to do it. And so now hip hop is in trouble.
It is. I would say this. I would say NWA is more what you're saying than Biggie. And let me tell you why. Biggie literally used Ready to Die as like a personal diary, because it's literally how he was feeling. He touched on his mental health, like him being suicidal. He touched on how his conditions made him, like it was his true feelings. Like I feel like exploitation is when it's not really you and you out here doing that. Like,
I'm not talking about that specifically, but in the bubble of all of his discography, he was riding that, right? He was making money off of the ability to talk about Versace and this lifestyle and calling females B's and the H word or the W.
You just reminded me.
Feeling the crack, like it was in every.
I feel you. No, I will say.
But that's what I said is the business, because he died broke. He didn't make money off of it. The business did. So they.
Who died broke? Who died broke?
He didn't have money.
Who?
Big? Are you kidding me? Biggie did not die rich.
Oh yeah, he did.
He didn't own this stuff. That's what I'm saying. They exploited his pain. So they take his pain and struggle and exploit it and make money off.
But you got to remember, the reason why I'm saying he did is because you got to remember Biggie passed on his album release party, where he had the #1 song in the country. That's when he died.
No, but guys, look, he wanted to leave. He wanted to go. He was evolving mentally too, because he wanted to leave and start and do the independent route, because they was, Diddy, his history. He wasn't making no money for real. You know what I'm saying? So, but Biggie was evolving mentally too. You know what I'm saying? He was on the idea of starting his own label, independent, because he was learning the music business. Because they exploited his pain. Like you said, that was his diary. So I'm not gonna knock him for, because listen, it was a whole generation who grew up in the crack era. The stories he was telling was going on.
Here's a question. You grew up in the crack era. Should how y'all feel about 9/11? That every 9/11 you gonna play out this whole scenario. Listen, my brother is deceased. My father is deceased. I'm not gonna play out their death and when they die every year. I'm not gonna stay in that struggle.
But he only really been. I agree with you. I agree with you. Ain't gonna do it every year, but you can't say for someone who's been here and had that platform for 2 years for real.
Yeah, but that is why he talks about the Versace though, because that is the exact opposite of where he came from,
but that flashy lifestyle, which is Harlem, which is New York drug scene. You know what I mean?
Yes, but he don't come from that standpoint. His standpoint is black and ugly as ever. However, I stay coochie down to the socks. So his thing is confident.
For the community though, that made them what? Do Rob still do anything to get the boots?
No.
Okay, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. You're not just talking about Biggie. You're talking about people that make that music. Period. Right.
Ultimately, but Biggie was the poster child for me on that. He really was. Swagged out that whole materialistic.
Right. Now to the average listener, it's everything that you're saying. I'm only speaking from my standpoint, but I agree with everything you're saying to the average listener. It's very detrimental. I feel you.
And now this is commonplace. His lyrics are not even shocking. But he birthed this. You birthed this generation.
No, NWA came before him.
Kenyatta.
But he was a part of it.
I'll give listen.
Separate him away from it,
listen,
right?
I'll say, okay, on one sense he birthed it because after Biggie, you got the Jays, the Waynes, they Biggie babies. All them witty rappers, they Biggie babies. But my thing is, I'm more pointing at the business of it than just Biggie, because the business exploited a black man's pain and what.
For sure.
So, but yeah, if you were making a poster child, you could do that. But again, he's still a top rapper because of what he brought to the game. And that was the bad, the ugly of being a young black male, especially back in the day, because no one was speaking from that point of view.
Chief Keef and Soulja Boy birth will be listening to today.
Yeah.
But who birthed them?
Gucci Mane and somewhat Jeezy, but more so like Gucci Mane, Waka Flocka Flame, and them.
Who birthed them?
Probably Tupac. and Matt. No. I'm sorry. Master P and Cash Money. That's who birthed them.
And I'm trying to. Okay. Touche. Before I go, everyday struggle. I don't want to live no more. Sometimes I hear death knocking at my front door. I'm living every day like a hustle. Another drug to jiggle. Another day, another struggle.
Pause. So you can't tell me the average black male back then couldn't relate to that, and they couldn't be like, thank you. This is mental health.
I'm not gonna lie. When I told you that, when I kept saying everyday struggle, I started thinking of the lyrics in my head. I was like, yeah, she not gonna like that song. But
all I'm saying is that's again, you don't have to like it, but that spoke to men that wasn't being heard.
You know what? I'll give you this. Because I personally don't want to hear these men. Like not
and you have people, that's why I liken it to slavery. You have people who don't want to hear slavery.
No, not in the sense of you saying this not in a way to resolve it. You just saying it and you living in the grief of it, and you just it's an open cut, and you just feeling that out.
That's therapy.
Because this is not one Biggie lyric that I'm talking about. Everyday struggle. I'm gonna pull out of this everything. Every Biggie lyric is everyday struggle.
I get it. I get it, but it's a movie. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's like watching a movie. Like literally.
It's a small sample size for someone who ain't been on that.
Okay. One more. Look up Respect. Look up the song Respect. Off Ready to Die. But what I'm saying is, it's a movie, so it's gonna play like that because it's on purpose. Like, it start with him being birthed, and it ends with him committing a suicide attempt. That's what it ends with. But then the next album starts with him coming to life, and it's called Life After Death.
So when you said this is a journal, so you can't dock a man for writing in his journal. Because it was storytelling. I wouldn't even say it was just glamorized. That was real storytelling. And I'm gonna tell my story, whether you want to hear it or not.
It's definitely storytelling.
As I said to Chaz earlier, I don't even want to say the names, but I will. What's her name? Suki?
Yeah.
Suki got a story to tell.
That's probably not her story for real.
Sexy Red got a story to tell.
But they not telling their story. That's the thing. They not telling their story.
Huh?
They not telling that story. I would love to hear that story. Actually,
they just promoting sex. That's not a story.
Oh. Guys, because I'm having a distorted. So I'm gonna leave y'all in peace. I'm gonna leave y'all in peace. But for me, at some point, just give me that lyric. Just give me the lyric where I won't say, so I can say, oh.
No, I'm not doing it that way.
Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit.
Now Chaz is to show you what I said on those lyrics.
No,
Yes, man. Peace. Good talking to you.